Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping well. This week we're going to be doing some maintenance. One of my channel members, Brian, he has a problem, an obsession maybe, with A4s. Recently, while browsing the internet, he came across an auction site, found a load of A4 models up for sale. So he put a bid in and he won. He then turned up on my doorstep with said models. Here we have some of them here in various states of repair. So he's asked me to have a look at them. There's different makes in here. There's Hornby and Bachmann. So we're going to have a look at them now, see if they're working, see what needs doing to them, get a list of parts we need to order to get them going again. So let's get stuck in and have a look at these. So here's the first box. Let's see what we've got in here. So we have A4 4482 Golden Eagle in LNR colours. This is a Hornby and it is tender driven, and immediately we can see this must have been wired for DCC and the chip's been cut away. Not only that, we're missing the gears here. So we can do about that. And we have LNR 2509 Silver Link in silver grey livery. This is again a Hornby and it's tender driven. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. And we have Silver Fox 2512, again LNER, and this is again a Hornby. And it appears to be tender driven. And then we have, well, what's this? This is 75059, so it's British Rail. It's a 4.6 engine, not sure what that is. This feels like it's got a motor in it, so this isn't tender driven. There's no tender with it. This is a Bachmann. So we'll have a look at that, see if we can get that going. On with the next tub. So here we have the little Silver Fox 2512 again. Now, Brian's plan is to have the full fleet. He's getting nameplates made up, so some of these will be renamed and renumbered to different models. Again, this is the same Hornby one, tender driven. So we'll have a look at that. Sir Nigel Gresley 4498. This is a, it doesn't say what it is. This seems like an old mechanism one. It's quite heavy. I wonder, is this a Trang one? There's no maker's marks on it or anything, but it is quite substantial. So we'll have a look at that, see if we can get that going. I'll say this is quite heavy. The motor's obviously in here. This tender is very light. It's got horrible chunky plastic wheels on it. Oh, and it says Triang Hornby, I think. Yes, Triang Hornby. So this is an early Triang Hornby one. And we got Silver Link 2509. Oh, this is an old one. I can tell by the mechanism on there. So this is again tender driven. Traction tires. Yeah, obviously somebody's done a wiring job there with that. Or was that the way they came? I'm not sure. But we'll have a look at that. See what we can do with it. And then we have Merlin 60027 in British Rail. Again, this is tender driven. This is a Hornby. Another Silver Fox, Hornby, tender driven, traction tires. So got all these all out the boxes now. These are all DC. Brian runs a DC layout. So I'm going to get my rolling rod out, a bit of track, my trusty gauge master transformer, and we'll go through each of these in turn, see if they're working, and see what I need to do to get them going. So as most of them seem to be tender drive, I've got the tender of this is the Silver Fox, Hornby one, yep. And with these models, they tend to have the pickups on the engine, which come through to this pin here and go to the motor, and then the other pickup is on the wheels of the tender. So it doesn't give very reliable running, because also you're relying on one side of the engine to pick up the power to go through this pin, which is connected with a couple of brass strips or copper strips there, and return through the wheels of the other engine. Now these are probably 3-pole motors that are in here, so again they're not reliable. The 5 poles are much better. So we'll test this, see if it's working. So I'm going to put one of the pegs on the pin there, and then just on the wheels. And you can always tell with these which wheels pick up the power, because it's the side that doesn't have traction tires. So you can see that. This one here. Oh, it's got to pick up in the middle one, and that one there. And then you have a floating bogie which isn't connected to anything. So this one seems to be working. The wheels need a bit of a clean. I can see they're very dirty, so I'll put that to one side and I'll give them a clean. I'm just going to work my way through all these and just see how it works. Now this is the Hornby Triang one with the motor in the main engine. So that is noisy. You can tell it pick up on most wheels. For some reason that middle wheel on that side isn't working, but the 2 other wheels are. See on there's these little pickups on the wheels. So obviously the one on that wheel is broken off or not making contact. So we can clean those up, see if we can get that working a bit better. I'm going to carry on working through all these, making notes what needs to be done, and then we can have a look at the actual work that needs to be done. I think it's just going to be giving them a clean, taking them apart, checking the mechanism, maybe a light oiling. That's about it, because they all seem to be running one way or another. So I'll do that, and then we'll have a look at it all in a minute. Right, I've gone through them all. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 engines here. Majority of them just need a clean and an oil. 2 of them are not running. One of them, I connect the power and it started smoking, so not sure what's going on there. I have to get that out. And of course we got the first one we've seen, which is missing the gears, is running but missing the gears. So I think the first one we're going to look at is the one that is smoking, and see why it's doing that, because that's a bit concerning. So let's find that one. So it is the Merlin. So I'm going to pop cover off. Have a look, let's see what's going on here. Gears are all in place, looks relatively clean. So let's see if we can zoom in a bit more. And put the power on and see why exactly it is smoking. It might be just excess oil. I think there is just too much oil. Some oil's got down onto the commutator there. I can see it's quite black and shiny. So I think I just need to strip this down. And there's a lot of sparking coming off it, so I think it's just a build up of carbon dust from the brushers on the commutator that's causing that smoke. I don't know if the camera's picking that smoke up. But we'll strip that down and give it a clean. So I'll gather up all my bits and pieces and we'll come back and have a look at this. Right, first thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take the brushes out. So this just means bending these tabs back. Oh, and watching for the little spring to go flying out, which it has. And carefully on this side as well. There's the little spring. Take that out. So we have the little, there's the camera, focus. Oh, it doesn't want to focus. There you can see a little spring there. That's what holds the brush against the commutator. So now if I turn this upside down, they should just pop out. And if they don't pop out easily, it's a sure sign that there's too much oil on there, and that's causing the smoking because they're actually just stuck in there. So I'm just going to bend those tabs down again so they don't drop out and then I lose them. Right, let's disconnect the wire. And we'll start stripping this motor apart. Take these off. Take the gears off. If you're not used to doing something like this, either film it like I'm doing, or take photos as you go along so you've got a record of where everything goes back. Now I can feel these are actually quite grimy, so I'm going to give them a clean up and on a light bit of oil when I put them back together. Obviously, if there's too much oil, it will pick up little bits of dirt and dust and will interfere with the mechanism. Now I can see on here by looking through the plastic there, you can see that it is a 3-pole motor, which isn't the most reliable. They now use 5 poles, which are far more reliable. So what I need to do is, now I can get in there and spin that freely, is I will get some IPA. And get cotton bud and put it in there so it's resting its commutator, and then spin it. So I'm using this hand to spin it around. Hopefully this will remove all the grease, oil, carbon dust and everything. And just look at that. So where you have the brakes on the commutator, you get dust build up in there and oil, which can cause shorting and sparking, and I think that's where the smoking and everything from this is coming from. So giving that a good clean. And you can just see, yeah, look at the dirt on that. Just use the clean end. And I'm just spinning it, rubbing it clean. Right, and we can't see this now, but they're all shiny in there, all nice and clean. So anybody unfamiliar with the way these motors work, you have the pin here, which is connected to the engine, that wire is connected to that pin, which then plugs in to this side. The wheels pick up on this chassis, which are, you can tell which ones they are because it's the side that doesn't have traction tires, so it's this side here. It's connected to the bodywork up here, which you can see this wire here picks up the power from the body, and then we can connect it into the motor, like so. So I'm going to put the springs back in, press these in again, and then I'll give it a little run. Hopefully now it should have stopped smoking. This is always the fun bit. And maybe just a little bit of oil on one of the brushes, so that might just burn off initially. These springs have a habit of just disappearing on me, never to be seen again. So I need a pair of tweezers just to hold it in place. Right, hopefully now I'll bring back the power. So putting it onto the pin. On there, and the other one on here. Oh, it's not spinning at all. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's working a lot better now. No smoke, which is a good thing. A little bit of noise. That's obviously where I cleaned it now. I cleaned away some of the oil. So a little drop of oil will do it the world of good. Yeah, it's working fine. So now it's a case of, so these gears, you can feel they're all gritty and they just need a wipe over. So I'm just going to get a cotton bud, just give them a wipe over, get rid of any dirt off them. Then I'll put this all back together and we'll give it a little bit of an oil. Also give the wheels a clean. Yeah. Rule of thumb with these, if you can see oil, there's too much. You can see the sort of dirt that's coming off on them. So, give the wheels a good clean. Also, give this a clean as well, because this is obviously electrical contact as well. So you want to keep that clean. Well, so it's easier to clean these wheels now when you've got the gears off because they are free moving now. So give them, just spin it with your thumb, keep it, where are we? So spin it with your thumb, keeping the Q-tip up against the wheel. You can see the dirt coming off on that. These wheels don't actually look that dirty. There you go. Now I just need to put it back together. Actually, do you know what? I can see that in there is all shiny with muck. So give that a clean over. There you can see all the dirt and grime that's coming off of there. Right, and put it back together. That's where tweezers come in handy. It's just one of those fiddly jobs, which is easier to do when you don't have a camera on. One in, and the other. And one thing you just have to be careful when you put these in, you get them seated properly and you don't break any of the teeth off, because that will be the end of it. There we go. Now the retaining clip in. Go. Get them in. And when I had it upside down, this spring came out. Go. And what ended up on the floor then, that would have been it lost. We do have somewhere in a box spare springs and brushes, but right, let's connect the power to that again. See how that works. There we go. So there's a little bit of noise. So I get my oiling pen, pick these up in most hobby shops. A nice little thin applicator. What you really want to do is just get a little tiny drop on the end. That's all you need. This is just a tiny little drop, noise will stop. You're going to let that run in for a few minutes. And then once it's run in, I'll go in there with the Q-tip again and just any excess oil I see, just mop that up. So actually put that where you can see it. So that's running away nicely now. No smoking, no sparking. So, leave that. On with the next one. Let's look back at that footage I shot. It's not a great job, some hands in the way, some of it's out of shot, so I'm just going to take this unit that I've just serviced, go through it quickly, what I've done with it, just so you have a better overview. So one of the first things I done was bent back these tabs, pulled out the springs, tried to get the brushes out, they wouldn't come out. I then took off these gears at the back, so we removed that little brass copper clip there, popped them off. I gave them a clean with some IPA and cleaned around the area because there was grit and grime and everything there, and then put it back together. This side here, where the commutator is at the bottom, where it was all dirty, I just got a Q-tip or an earbud with IPA on the end of it, put it in there and span the commutator around, so that cleaned it all off. I then took the oiling pen after I tested it and it was running, and you remember it was making that horrible noise, just in there, I don't know if you can make that out, just between the two terminals there, there's a little bit about where the motor spins around, and I just used the oiling pen to put a tiny little drop of oil in there, and you heard it silenced it straight away, let it run in for about 5 minutes, then I cleaned away any excess oil, and I just reassembled all the wires, put it back together, and that's basically it. Obviously cleaned the wheels as well, again using IPA and a cotton bud or earbud, whatever you want to call it. And that's it. The rest of the stuff here I'm going to have to do the exact same thing with. They all just need a good clean. There's a couple of them that aren't working, which I'll strip down and take a look at. One of them I already had a look at, which is the back of my one here, and I discovered on closer inspection then that some of the running gear wasn't working. It was actually just soldered into place, so it had actually been broken. So whoever had this, the motor itself does spin, but all the wheels and running gear and everything is just completely locked up. So you'd need to strip all that down and get a new running gear. So it's probably just going to be a static piece with a bit of weathering on it, just sitting in a siding somewhere. That's it, really. So I'm going to leave the video there because I think it's long enough at this point. And if you've survived this long, give me the thumbs up and subscribe if you're new here. Do check out my channel members and patrons who are scrolling down here. Big thanks for their support. If you'd like to become one, hit the join button or the Patreon links are down below. So I'm going to pop a video here and the subscribe button in the middle. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.